And welcome to the M2 podcast. I'm your host, Michael Anstey. My co-host is Kyle Heath. And for anybody that's watching the video, you just saw what I was laughing at. Anyways, this is the show where we cover esports and personalities, gaming industry related news, new and upcoming games, and technology innovation. At the start of every single episode, we do a quick update. Check-in is what we should call it now. So what's the check-in with you, Kyle? How you been? What's been going on the last week?
Check in with me.
Checking in.
Try to think if I played a way out a little bit more. I don't know if I did, but I certainly will be playing it tonight. I know that much, so that's certainly on the horizon. Besides watching the PlayStation showcase, which we covered last week.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah, no, I'm super hyped for Summer Games Fest. We're a week away, so very much look forward to that. I think it's gonna be a solid show. At least I hope. It's gonna be a 2-hour feature, so a lot to pack in there, but yeah, I mean, as far as I don't know, last week for me, I think I may have played a little bit of a way out. Other than that, I don't know. It's my gaming has gone down a little bit, which in hindsight I'm like a little upset about. So I want to get it back up, but just been outside of the video game landscape this week, and I think part of that's just due to the fact that it's I want to see more about new games and stuff, and just kind of in a drought right now. So, but it's also the perfect time to catch up on titles, so I need to take advantage of it. That's for sure. But yeah, I mean, in terms of gaming, there's not much else to update other than that. I will be trying to actually fix a couple of the consoles I got though. I got that PlayStation 2 and I got that GameCube.
That's good.
I need to get new lasers for both of those, so that's factored into the budget next month. So probably in the next week or so, I'm going to order those. They're relatively cheap, though. They're not expensive. So, but yeah, once I get those fixed up, definitely want to get some playtime on those. So, kind of waiting for that too, and waiting for the month to start. So we're here though. We're already at the beginning of June, dude.
It is kind of wild. We're here. Yeah, and we talked about it. What last episode? The first two. Let's just say the first 20 days of June have something like 15 events for gaming. It's wild, dude. We're actually kicking off June 1st with the Facebook Metaverse. What's it exactly called? Let me look. MetaQuest Gaming Showcase. So third annual 40-minute exclusive new games for the MetaQuest VR headsets and a couple other titles. So should be kind of cool.
Yeah, dude, more VR stuff. Always exciting. Yeah, I don't know. It's we always talk about the games for this month, stuff like that, but I feel like it's just the conferences for this month is what's more more relevant for June. So
for sure.
We have a lot to cover, but yeah, dude, next week it's the news is gonna be flowing. So it's I know this week's a little
We're
bit
gonna be busy, man.
Yeah, it's a little bit on the slower end this week, but I think that's to be expected with the week before showcase. So
100%. Yeah, everything's kind of been under wraps with all the devs and publishers, and I think the only thing we've really seen is just periodic maintenance and updates going to different projects and overall games that have been released for a while now. So we're just patiently waiting on that new.
That's what it is. But yeah, in terms of gaming, that's about all I had this week. I don't know. Did you game more than me, Mike?
I guess I have. if you're pretty minimal, man. So a couple of things outside of gaming, I've been just watching a bunch of TV, watched a bunch of sports. Shout out to the Hurricanes. They got eliminated. That was kind of a shame, but
dude,
it's playoff season for NBA and NHL, so it's that's been going on. Trying to catch some of those games. I've been watching Ted Lasso. I've watched just started random shows, just getting back into that. Periodically I'll find a show and I'll just go through it.
Yeah.
And that's what I've been doing outside of the gaming sphere. But in the gaming sphere, I have been making some steady progress on Breath of the Wild. I made it to. Have you beaten Breath of the Wild?
I've not. I have 1 hour on the game and that's it. So
okay, so you're very okay. The easiest way to explain is in the game, you have to go and rebuild your old team from 100 years ago because Link is being awoken to the classic Link story. He doesn't remember his past, has to save everybody. So he's trying to assemble his team. And one of the ways you have to assemble your team is to get like defeat 4 main, I think they call them divine beasts. So I made it to the first divine beast, and it's like an open world game. You can go in any which way you wanted. And I was trying to make it so I can see the entire map by going to those like towers and like revealing everything, so I can kind of speed run, go online and find all the critical information I need to have.
Yeah.
So I could just like go to the places and like get it all done as quick as possible. And my first attempt of doing that, I ended up in a divine beast like battle. So when I load back up, it's like I gotta fight him, and I only have 3 hearts, and I basically have 1 expansion on my what's it called? Endurance? Yeah, endurance.
Yeah, that's circle or whatever.
Yeah. So I'm terrified. I can't take any hit damage at all. I just gotta play perfect. No big deal. I mean, I'm just playing Breath of the Wild / Dark Souls over here.
You did it yourself, Mike, you know?
I did. I tried to speed run and I messed up, man. So that's basically what I got going on.
Yeah.
Just doing that. And you and I have both been obsessed with like finance YouTube content. So I've been like personal finance stuff and like Dave Ramsey, but Caleb Hammer.
Dude, that's
like Jerry Springer style finance.
There's been a lot of growth, I think, on the financial literacy between our in our little group. So I love to see.
Oh that. Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
I love to see that. I think, but yeah, like to your point too. I mean, I didn't even mention it, but I'm right there with you in terms of sports. Like, just been watching a lot of sports. Been trying to I've been catching some of the NBA finals, and obviously like catching some of the last Premier League games, and so it's kind of just a lot of that. And just
shout out Everton.
I
should have worn my jersey.
You should have, dude. Like,
that's gonna be the thumbnail.
I mean, you just wear something in the thumbnail. Yeah, you didn't, dude. Honestly, 200 IQ. But yeah, I think I don't know. Overall, like, yeah, I've just been like, this has been the year I've like really just like gotten into sports more. I don't know why. It's just like it's been something that's fun.
Because I know why. It's because you watched the World Cup.
And that probably triggered it. Yeah,
that's what happened.
Yeah, probably.
Because when you start learning the game, you start learning the passion. You start learning like, oh, these players are actually like best friends. They play against each other year round. Yeah. It's like you get more attached to it. Then you start understanding. It's like, oh, well, which is the best league? Like, what are the best teams? Then you start rooting for teams. Have you found a team in the Premier League yet?
I don't know. Like, I think like, because I know you sent that video one time to us. I haven't even seen it yet about like, picking your team kind of thing. I don't know, something about Tottenham's always like I've swayed towards. I've heard, a lot of stuff about them. I know they're, necessarily like a middle range team. They're not like anything special, but
oh no, they're special. They just haven't won anything in forever.
Yeah.
Like they have arguably like one of the best strikers in the world on like Harry Kane. It's like they're not a bad team.
Yeah.
And definitely like almost they're one of the considered big 6 of the major clubs.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I've been thinking about Tottenham, but I don't know. I still like I may end up going that team, but I don't know yet. So it's one of those things. Like I feel like it's just I want to find a team that speaks to me, but it's kind of hard when like there's all this history behind each team, and so you're like you want to understand that first before you like get dive in.
It's like it's a serious commitment. Yeah. Anytime, remember you, Nick, excuse me, Nick was saying that he wanted to support Everton, and I was like, whoa, like I don't want to sign anybody up for this level of pain, like without them being aware. So it's like you do need the history lesson. You need a little bit more context of the team because the teams are like 150 years old or more. Yeah. It's like absolutely insane how old they are.
Yeah, that's I don't know. Something about sports too. It's like I realize that maybe it's just because like I'm older and stuff like that, but you realize like you start to understand the perseverance and like the spirit behind it, and it's just like how teams there's all the sacrifice that goes into it to like try and win these, and like how much like dedication that's put in, and so like motivates me to kind of try a little bit harder and be like it's I'm not it's for me it's just one of those things like hey like I could definitely put more effort in, and I've started to notice that when I watch like sports teams. It's just like the dedication and the the brotherhood and all that. So it's really cool to see that stuff, and so that's like what I've kind of like picking up life lessons like as I'm
crazy
as I'm watching. So yeah, it's there's a lot like because like there's so much I think to everything. There's so much like nuance and detail that like if you really study it and you understand it, it's kind of like I mean, like passion for video games, like because a lot of people say, oh, like video games are dumb or like sports are dumb and stuff like that. But it's like when you really like start to like get into it and you start to see the history and you start to see like the culture and stuff like that, it really like opens your eyes. And it's like, okay, maybe this actually isn't so dumb. So that's like
Oh yeah.
that's yeah. That's
I
the
always try to for anybody that like doesn't like watching sports at all, I always try to explain it for people that like watching reality TV or movies and TV shows like drama in general.
yeah.
Because if you know the background, you know each individual connection, not like in a stalker way, but like you understand, okay, this person played for this other club, now they're
Yeah,
playing
yeah.
each other. There's going to be some type of connection there that's going to be on the field or on the ice or on the court. It's just like having the background of who the players are definitely adds like an extra element of context to an overall game.
Yeah, it
And
does.
it's like really really interesting. And the same thing happens in esports too. Cuz you'll
Yeah,
have
yeah.
like major competitors just being on rival teams like best friends
Yeah.
or like best friends that were on the same team and now they hate each other and now they're like cursing at each other on main stage,
Yeah.
you know? It's like that's wild and it brings the fans in, man. So,
Yeah. Dude, yeah, there's just so much to it. Yeah. And like, I don't know, you can link it to a lot of stuff and I don't know. That's one thing I love about gaming, especially in esports. It's like it brings the
yeah.
sports, aspect to it, and the competitive nature to it. So, yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. Oh, going back to your retro gaming that you were talking about. A buddy of mine and people who are on like gaming Twitter, anything, they probably saw a viral video of a whole bunch of like guys on original Xboxes, the CRTVs doing a LAN for Halo 2. Well, I'm in that community and the leader of it, the guy that organized everything and ran that tournament, he has offered to help fix my Xbox. So I don't know if I told you this, but the Xbox that I have, he even like he saw the pictures of it and he could tell right away. Apparently the capacitors on the Xbox motherboard are about to like rupture. They're like clearly like default or like
Yeah, like
defunct
leaking.
or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, they're not leaking, but they're definitely like corroding.
They're
They're
bloated.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
bloated. So he's like, "Yeah, just send it to me and I'll repair it." So hopefully that'll allow me to like use this HDMI output so I can use a freaking monitor. Because before, people that are watching the video, that's a Vizio TV from 2009, and I have to stand up like it's a Walmart or Target like demo where you're like holding the controller and just looking up. So playing that for like 2 hours, it's kind of annoying.
Yeah.
So just sit back down. Hopefully you can fix the Xbox and hook me up. That'd be nice.
Hey man,
But
that's one thing I learned about consoles too is they make like capacitor kits for a lot of the older
oh
consoles.
yeah,
And yeah, dude, if you have a soldering iron, some solder, and a capacitor kit, you can fix it. So yeah, but
yeah.
that's a common issue I saw with Xboxes too. Like a lot of people that repair Xboxes, like they'll open it up and you'll just see the capacitors are just bloated and like about to rupture. It's like
Oh
that was a
yeah.
common issue, especially with age. So yeah, makes
Yeah,
sense.
so I'm sending him I'm sending him a power supply unit with it, and I was like, he has something like 30 Xboxes
Yeah,
or more. So I'm like, eventually one of his power supply units is gonna break. So I'm like, just take this.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Very cool. Very cool.
hopefully it works. He mentioned he's gonna make it a little upgrade. Hopefully it works. But if it doesn't, I mean, the ship sailed. It's from 2001. What am I
Yeah,
gonna do?
yeah,
You know?
yeah. That's true. I don't know. I hope you can fix it though. I think if there's any way, like I feel like people should always try to like restore and fix like the older consoles and stuff like that because most of the time
Yeah.
they're fixable and you can get more life out of them pretty easily. So I always
Oh, for
encourage people to
sure.
try to. And
And
yeah,
and it's a good hobby, like emulators are, and
yeah,
like retro gaming.
yeah. I mean, dude, there's so many mods nowadays too. Like you could take that Xbox, like once you get it fixed and working. There's like full blown like like
Oh,
mod kits you can solder in and like actually like completely
that's
change the UI.
dude, that like he has that set up. He has
Yeah,
like a clear crystal Xbox that has like basically temperature gauges on the front of it that's wired in.
it's crazy.
He was showing me pictures. He made a 3D rendering, like 3D printing bracket mount to upgrade his CPU to a higher gigahertz CPU. Like he
That's
completely took
intense.
it
Yeah.
out, upgraded it, and now he has it resized so that it can fit the same heat sinks. He's upgraded. I think he put in a server fan because there's like server fans can be really small,
Yeah.
but
Oh
it's
yeah.
like a load of air that can go through it. They're pretty powerful. He's like upgraded the power supply unit, I think. And there was something else that he did. Something to do with like soldering on the motherboard. Oh yeah, the mod kit that you're talking about, he soldered the HDMI onto it, so you don't have to have an adapter. You can just plug an HDMI into the back of
I've
the
seen
case. It's wild.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Oh, and all the LEDs to make it super gamer friendly.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, I don't know. It's super sick. Yeah, just seeing like I saw a similar thing where someone they got like a huge hard drive, they like mounted it in, got a mod chip, and then it's like they got put a mod chip in, and then it's like a whole. They had downloaded pretty much the entire like North America library of Xbox games.
Oh yeah,
onto that
dude,
thing.
that's
wild.
That's literally what he was telling me. He's like, all I have to do is solder like 2 points. You're not going to notice anything, but if you wanted to, you could put in a 16 terabyte hard drive. And I'm like, there's already 2 terabyte. He goes, yeah, no, but like 16, It's like, just do it, just cause. And I'm like, yeah, do it, whatever. Have fun.
Why not, dude? Why not?
Yeah,
dude, exciting stuff. Glad to see consoles are getting a new life. It's awesome.
Yes, sir. But let's get into our first article, man. I'm actually pretty excited that you're covering this.
Oh man,
and I know that I've mentioned it several times, the Dolphin emulator, and actually implementing that onto the Xbox Series S, and how that isn't possible anymore on the retail version. Yeah, but you can do it on the dev kit. So if you want to take it away, man.
It's a little crazy. Game developer we got this article from, and they are actually talking about the Dolphin emulator has been removed from Steam after Nintendo DMCA. Nintendo's newest DMCA prevents the popular emulator from growing even further. Dolphin, the extremely popular video game emulator, was set to have a PC version on Steam, but it's since been delisted from the platform. On May 27th, Dolphin's developers said that the port was indefinitely postponed as a result of discussions between Valve and Nintendo. We were notified by Valve that Nintendo had issued a cease and desist, citing the DMCA against Dolphin's Steam page, they wrote, and have removed Dolphin from Steam until the matter is settled. Dolphin has been available for years as an open source project and is listed on Steam back in March of this year with an official store page and presumably priced at little to nothing. Its profile would have been greatly boosted as a result. Emulator interest has reportedly grown thanks to Valve's Steam Deck handheld. Nintendo's letter to Valve claims Dolphin uses, quote, cryptographic keys without Nintendo's authorization in decrypting the ROMs at or immediately before runtime. Doing so for individual games possibly violates Nintendo's intellectual property rights, which is what the publisher is using as its basis to stop Dolphin. An intellectual property lawyer speaking to PC Gamer explained that Nintendo's DMCA means it, quote, considers Dolphin to violate the DMCA and should it be released on Steam, Nintendo will likely take further action. Meaning that Valve could likely end up on the hook for any legal troubles, similar to what recently happened to Sony in Austria, which I don't really know much about, to be honest. But Dolphin's developers said that we're currently investigating our options and have a more in-depth response in the near future. We appreciate your patience in the meantime. Dolphin, getting the can on Steam. Should I be surprised though? I mean, this is the thing.
It's Nintendo at this point.
I mean, yeah, one, it's Nintendo, but two, we know the legal gray area that is emulators. All right, Mike? Not going to go into details about how it's done, but there's certainly some gray area there to say the least.
It's one of those unspoken, but everybody knows it kind of thing.
Yeah,
with emulators, like the concept, like the legality of it is, it's supposed to be something that you could use if you have the actual physical copy of the game. So you would download the physical copy of the game and then use it for yourself, like on the go or on any other thing. So that's like the loophole. But what really happens is people just go to like websites, archive.org or whatever the heck it's called, and just download all the games as if it's their own, and then they play it.
Pretty much.
So it's definitely pirated. You can't say it's not.
I mean, and this is the thing too. Have you ever actually looked into how to extract an ISO from a game disc on whether it's Nintendo or Xbox or anything like that?
I have it, and it's not that hard if you're about to say it is.
Well, because Nintendo, I'm not necessarily going to say
Nintendo's is harder, especially their cartridges.
Yeah, well, cartridges, but even their disc-based games, I'm not necessarily going to say it's hard. However, I will say there's certainly hoops you have to jump through and software you have to install in order to properly rip that. So it's certainly, it's certainly more time consuming to do that. Not saying it's impossible, of course, but yeah, if you were to do it, legally, quote unquote, then yeah, that's it definitely is definitely takes a little longer. But yeah, I mean, and then but that's the only legal way to do it really is if you have the physical disc, you can, get the ISO off it and do it that way. Yeah, there's a challenge with that though. So I don't know. It's but yeah, there's like most people they don't want to too lazy, especially if you're like, you're downloading the simulators, you just kind of want the games quick. So that's how most people probably do it. They just go on a site and download it and yeah, that's kind
upload
of
it and call it a day, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like through the Dolphin emulator on Steam, it almost like just from reading that description, it sounds like there's sort of a different approach to it. To kind of try and maybe like dodge that, like at least like the legal gray area part, but yeah, it's still not a very liked by Nintendo, to say the least.
No, definitely not. I mean, Nintendo has been very serious about their proprietary like products, I guess, intellectual property rights. I think I need to say it's like they've always been that way. So it's not out of character of them. I feel like people kind of should expect it by now. They've always been this way. It's like they had a big issue with people copying, or they heard about like PS1, PS2 games getting ripped in the Xbox games. So it's like when the GameCube came out, they made the discs smaller, so it'd be difficult to steal. And then they started switching over to like cartridges again. And it's just like whatever they can possibly do to prevent this kind of thing from happening. But at the same time, man, it's like emulators, you're not really gonna be playing Nintendo Switch game on an emulator, are you? Like, it's gonna be a terrible, terrible like experience.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, it's kind of hard to do or almost possible right now. But yeah, by the time it gets to that, where people start emulating Switch games, I mean, a lot of the functionality obviously wouldn't work on most, on most,
no,
I guess it's what I'm looking for, controllers or like mouse keys. So, yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that. And even on the Wii, it's kind of like, you download like a Wii game, it's like, okay, I mean, you need like a sensor bar, right? And like sometimes there's like, I think there's even sensor bars that are USB, so you could just like buy one that plugs in directly. So you can.
That's if you want to use you can. I think it works on Bluetooth now, so you can still make it work. But nowadays, you'll in the emulation for Dolphin, that's for the PC. Not I don't know how Steam works, but you can download it directly from their site. And the way it works is you just reprogram the controls to be on a normal controller. Like you can play any of the Switch games now, or like not the Switch game, like GameCube games or Wii games on an Xbox controller if you wanted to, or PlayStation controller, as long as it's Bluetooth connected to your computer. You just have to repath everything, and it takes a while.
Yeah, especially yeah. Okay, yeah. I had to do some remapping when I was doing emulation for like older games. But it's not even just like remapping the controls themselves necessarily, but like depending on the emulator you're using, there's also you can map a ton of like functionality for like say like save stating or like rewinding or anything like that. So there's like a whole subset of controls you have to map, and depending on the controller you're using will change that as well. So yeah, it's it could be a lot to set up, especially for a first time user, but yeah, once you get it all set up, it's pretty seamless, assuming you're using a decent emulator.
Yeah, and in this article, it does continue on about Nintendo's past experience with taking action against these like pirated games and stuff. And the one that I briefly mentioned before we got into the article was the emulators that were going on with the Xbox Series X and S consoles. So it's like the same exact thing happened. Nintendo approached Microsoft and was like, "Hey, you need to take this off," for the same reason that they said it for Steam. And Microsoft did it, except if you have the dev subscription, you can still play it. Yeah. I don't know how that works. And I don't think maybe it's because it's a dev kit at that point that they can't really control it.
Yeah,
because you're paying for the rights of the Xbox.
That's what I'm saying. Like I think you're paying for like the I don't know. I'm trying to think of the word, but like you're paying for the hardware itself essentially, not necessarily like the software it's running on it. So there's like that. I guess there's enough degree of separation where like Microsoft doesn't have liability anymore, and so it's like you can just kind of do whatever you want. Yeah, so I mean, I think that's kind of where that makes sense. But it makes me think too of like, you know, are we gonna get to a point where like say like GameCube games, like you know, like how like in music, I forget how it works, but it's like whenever like the artist like passes away and like after a certain amount of time it'll become public domain. I wonder if video games will fall under a line where like one day GameCube games will just be public domain, and so you can just download everything without any legal, repercussions.
I mean, that's a good question. So I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah.
I would think so because it is art, but it's like they're still gonna own the rights and they could probably just renew it, right?
Yeah, I don't know. I see, like my personal opinion. Obviously, like this is kind of just outside of everything, but like my personal thing is like I think especially like GameCube and like N64 and a lot of those older games, like I feel like it should get to a point where like we just want people to enjoy these games and understand the history and like just play them without like having to worry about legal ramification. Because I think it gets to a point of just like these games, they've made they made all the money from printing them, selling them, and all that, and it's all just resell at this point anyway. So it's like, why don't we just like give anyone the ability to just download it and play it and just kind of see what the older games are all about? Because I think we're at a point now where it's like, I mean, yeah, like there's still like the property, the intellectual property itself and all that, of course, is still in question. But like a lot of the games themselves, I mean, they're not Nintendo's not making money off that anymore. So it's like,
no, they're not.
At least the games themselves, right? So it's like, it'd be nice if it got to a point where we could just download and play the old one.
And the other thing is too, it's like how many of those original developers are actually going to make money off of the game that the game's like 30 years old?
I mean, at this point, none, right?
Yeah, it's like, do they still exist? Are those people still alive? Like, you know what I mean? Are they still employed?
That's a real question.
That's actual real question. It's not like anything malicious or
it's a valid
negative
question.
thinking. It's like 30 years is a long time, man.
Yeah. Sure.
Hey, yeah. One quick thing I want to mention before we should move on is the Gary Bowser pirate that got completely destroyed by Nintendo. Remember we covered that?
Oh yeah.
He's going to spend the rest of his life paying Nintendo Switch or Nintendo.
Yeah.
I keep saying Switch because like there's an ad on my screen. So sorry. Yeah, sorry about that. But basically he has to earn like $40 million according to this. He's 53 years old, so it's like he's never going to be able to pay this off. Like,
yeah, probably not.
He got cooked. And all he made was $350,000. I hope it's worth it, dude. If that like Nintendo force you like cease and desist or whatever.
Yeah.
Stop your productions. But man, if like you're making money off of it, they'll come for everything.
Yeah, they really will. It's kind of crazy that Nintendo don't mess around when it comes to copyright. So
no shot.
Say the least.
All right, how about we move on to the next article from the CD Projekt Red? No, not CD Projekt Red. My bad.
It is included in there.
It is.
It's a double article, pretty much.
It is. It pretty much is, yeah. So this is an article from Kotaku. It's Ethan Gatch, who we've covered millions of times at this point, it feels like. So the title of the article is How a Wild Video Game Rumor Races Around the Internet Before Getting Shut Down. So Sony's not buying CD Projekt Red or seemingly makes Days Gone 2, contrary to Destiny leakers' claims. So it's almost summer and gamers are starting to lose it. In the midst of renewed console race frenzy and video game industry consolidation, fan speculation about future game releases and company deals is at an all-time high. It's exciting time for new announcements as we head into not E3 showcase season. Interesting take. But also the perfect set of conditions for BS rumors to circulate online at lightning speed. That's how CD Projekt Red ended up recently being forced to respond to a random chatter on Destiny 2 Discord while fans got hyped for Days Gone 2. That's not currently happening. Jeez. Dude, are we just making up stuff just to go viral?
No, this is the thing, dude. We as gamers, we want to make up rumors for things that we want. Am I right?
Oh,
it's something that we want about, a lot. Like Days Gone 2. See, this is the funny thing. Days Gone, when it first launched, got hardly any love. But then people played the game, and then people actually saw, hey, you know what? This game actually gets pretty good towards the latter half of the game. Like, it's actually not a bad game. And then everyone's like, Days Gone 2 would be pretty nice. But then the studio came back and like, no, we've already shifted to a new IP because like the higher ups essentially told us that it was a flop, and so we're not even allowed to make a second game. We have to
That's
move on.
crazy.
And so
now it's like positive affirmations.
Yeah.
Kind of
It's
thing.
like, because and then like there was a whole thing too where like it was I think there was some point where like Bend or like some people that used to work at Bend were saying like it was like the consumer's fault for not giving Days Gone enough love for them to be able to make a sequel kind of thing, even though they wanted to. It was a whole back and forth. Like this is a while ago, but yeah.
It's an interesting take.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's kind of like I would love a Days Gone 2 more than anything because I love the first Days Gone. So yeah, I would certainly want a sequel, but at least from Ben, it doesn't seem like we're getting that anytime soon, which is unfortunate. And I think that's why this rumor started, because people were like, "Oh, I really want a Days Gone 2," and I do too, but it's just too good to be true.
It does look good though. All right, so there's no shortage of rumors in the gaming industry, ranging from complete fan fiction to credible but unverified claims that well-known social media accounts with established track records. Recently, however, it feels like a pseudo pipeline for propagating and boosting video game rumors has increased its frequency and escalated the noise sound. Message boards like Reddit, gaming leaks, and rumors now aggregate everything from random guesses to actual reporting and from a supporting cast of in quotes insiders at record speed. While clout chasing accounts of YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter race to repost, rip off, and misinterpret the alleged insider info. I mean, dude, we've been seeing that forever, though.
Yeah. It's
but why are people
common.
falling for it now?
I don't know, man.
You know what I mean?
It could be a string of, just especially last year's lackluster roster, not only with releases, but also just with news in general and coming out. There's wasn't really a whole lot of like big flagship stuff. So it's like, and then like with the Activision Blizzard stuff, we're seeing all this like issues and stuff. And like a lot of people are curious how Sony's going to respond, because it seems like there hasn't been too huge of a response other than like acquiring Bungie. That was about it. It's not really been too many studio acquisitions. So yeah, a lot factors in. But this is also the week before Summer Games Fest, non E3. So,
that's true.
It's the rumors definitely spin up around this time.
I'm curious if maybe articles, journalists are actually giving the rumors, like knowingly giving them what's it called? Like credence, I guess?
Yeah,
like
more of a spotlight.
Yeah, more of a spotlight, specifically because they know that like the next couple of weeks are going to be great for them. In particular, it'll be good for us too, man. More people are going to be like tuning in, trying to figure out what the heck happened, because it's like there's so many things that are going to be happening in the next 2 weeks. It's going to be hard to like decipher the BS, right?
Very true. Yeah.
So maybe it's like manufactured, but also it's like, dude, I don't understand how people could think that Sony is going to buy CD Projekt Red. Like, I see that, to me, I instantly am like, okay, why? Like, why would CD Projekt Red give up their IP to go work underneath Sony and probably only be on like a PlayStation?
I mean, that's it's a huge market share. That's the thing. They're giving up a huge market share by not distributing Xbox.
It's like, why would that happen? So that was one of the rumors, and the Days Gone 2 was the other rumor, and there's been plenty of other ones where it's like, I mean, for the longest time, what was your favorite game? Dead Island 2?
Yeah,
I thought that was going to be the rumor forever. That would turn out to be real.
Hey, it finally came out, yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, yeah, there's a lot goes in this. There's a lot more of this article too. I didn't realize there was this much more.
Yeah, I was skimming through it, and pretty much what they explain is like where it actually came from. Yeah. And most of it came from Reddit, some of it came from Twitter, and it just basically got traction. All you need is like one respectable source to say like, okay, this is probably going to happen. We hear reports, and then all of a sudden it like gets manipulated into this is definitely happening, leak, like guaranteed, and then like more and more people start posting it. I mean, you'll have like Bloomberg on here has even mentioned about previously reporting that Sony had pushed Bend away from making a sequel or something like that. It's just like, what are you talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. Like the article goes on to talk about it more. I know. Yeah, there's a lot of like credible sources that are pretty much saying like, nah, there's Days Gone 2 is not happening. I don't know what they're talking about. And yeah, there's also the whole CD Projekt Red to Sony. Again, you're giving up a pretty big market share. Like if they did just Sony.
Yes.
But also, I mean, it's like I don't know. But then again, we're sitting here, on the heels of an Activision Blizzard deal with Microsoft. So I mean, anything's possible, I guess. But yeah, I mean, certainly for CD Projekt Red, unless it was a lot of money, it's probably not in their interest. I mean, they have arguably the greatest game of all time in Witcher 3, and they've made hundreds of millions and off that. So it's like they don't really like need an acquisition, but yeah. But I mean, that comes down to CD Projekt Red's interest at the end of the day. I think it's interesting though that people were trying to claim that that was going to be Sony's next big get for a studio, which for speaking hypotheticals, it could be, right? Like I think if they got CD Projekt Red, I mean that'd be insane. Like I'd be like, okay, that's pretty crazy.
That would be a massive get.
Yeah,
you could make the argument now because it might make sense for them to push that hard and that aggressively if the Microsoft Activision Blizzard deal goes through.
Yeah, I mean they have to make some big acquisitions. Right?
Yeah, it's like back them into a corner. They're going to be like, okay, what are the next biggest publishers? And I think CD Projekt Red's probably up there.
Yeah, for sure. Especially with all the Witcher games in the pipeline and new IP and dude, we got the DLC for Cyberpunk, which I really hope we hear more about next week. That's like something I'm really looking forward to. Hopefully a release date. That'd be pretty sick, man. A release date next week. That'd be pretty dope. Yeah. A lot of exciting stuff, but yeah, it's just they're not going to Sony. At least not right now. It'd be insane. It'd be even crazier if they were just like if they shot down the Rivers and the next week they're like Sony just comes out of nowhere at not their showcase and we're just like, yo, we didn't mention this last week, but we got CD Projekt Red.
Heck yeah, dude.
Be crazy, but yeah, unlikely is the current conclusion at the moment.
That's all I got for you on that. Oh,
it's not unlikely.
Oh, is it that wonderful? We actually talked about this last week, didn't we? Just got okay. That's why it's a new trailer.
It's a new trailer
for what game? It's a horror game, isn't it?
Yeah, Silent Hill Ascension, one of the many Silent Hill titles coming out, especially after the Silent Hill showcase last year, and hearing more about it going into this. Kind of upset, I will say. No extra news on Silent Hill in the recent showcase, at least for Silent Hill 2, the remake for that, because I was looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to Silent Hill 2 remake. Anyways, this article comes from Kotaku. Ashley Barden. Hopefully I said that right. Sounds like just the last name just kind of rolls off the tongue. Barden. It says it's spelled like Bardhan, but there's no way it's Bardhan. So yeah, Barden. The most unique Silent Hill in years just got a freaky new trailer. Konami's interactive survival horror game is Silent Hill Ascension, should be out later this year. This is Konami's cryptic live real-time interactive series game they talked about last year. It was the one trailer out of all of them where I was like, okay, I'm curious to see how this is going to work because it's definitely something new, it seems like. It looks tense with nasty enemies that should provide enough nightmare fuel to last through your waiting for the details on upcoming Silent Hill projects like Silent Hill 2 movie and the desperately anticipated Silent Hill 2 PS5 remake. Brief trailer shows characters creeping through shadows and bluish black woods to avoid lots of monsters. Big stumbling ones that look like piles of wet intestines. I like that description. And ones Gross. With notably a Yonic face. Is that how you sound? Anyway, when it's over, the screen declares their fate is in your hands. Then face your trauma together. Yeah, this is cool. I've always wanted Silent Hill themed therapy. Yeah, I have too. Not gonna lie. But yeah, Ginvid Entertainment, a sort of gaming-focused streaming service pushing massively interactive live events, released the trailer. Previously, Ginvid put The Walking Dead Last Mile and Pac-Man Community, both Facebook gaming exclusive live events. With that in mind, it's not likely that Ascension will be a replayable interactive drama horror game like Until Dawn. It'll probably be more like you're in a live audience of Jeopardy, but it's, the Jeopardy's evil. So these jokes, man. Oh, I love them.
A clever article.
Yeah. Say the least. A press release confirms as much, saying that Ascension follows multiple main characters from locations around the world, tormented by new and terrifying Silent Hill monsters. The actions of millions will determine the outcome. By the time the last scene streams, which characters have survived? Even the project's creators do not know how Silent Hill Ascension will end. Instead, the characters' fates are in the audience's hands. It's this thing. Surely they know how it ends, right? I mean, not exactly how it ends, but they have all the outcomes. You know what I'm saying? Surely.
It's a good project.
In the same release, Konami producer Mateo Akamoto let's say it. Adds that the company is pleased to tell a new interactive story in never before explored locations alongside new characters that will be introduced to fans of the Silent Hill universe. It is you who will decide the fate of multiple main characters, which will unfold simultaneously around the globe. The project will go live later this year. Release date? I think not. Why would we do that? You know? Yeah, I mean, just go over. I mean, I'll show the trailer a little bit. Just kind of go over again. It looks. It honestly, it looks good. Like, I love the animations and stuff. Top tier. Yeah, like everything, the textures and everything look great. Graphically stellar, to say the least. But yeah, it's certainly that thing. It certainly, like the article describes, you know, there's a bunch of different story paths. I immediately thought of like an Until Dawn type of vibe when I saw it. Kind of just like, yeah, you're going down different paths, you're making decisions along the way, and it's except this time, instead of it being like a replayable experience, it's just like one live event where people join in and kind of collectively make decisions as a group. So that should be interesting. I'll be curious to see how that kind of pans out. And it's one of those things, like, I think it's cool to have events like this where it's like, you know, it's like a planned thing where you have to be here at a certain time to do it, and if you don't, you miss out, kind of thing. I think it's really cool for, like, you know, a gaming event. So
yeah,
it ought to be interesting.
I think it's going to be great for streamers and content creators.
That's true. Like, yeah, build up some hype around Silent Hill too.
It'll be really cool. It'll be like world events, like special events that you get in battle royales, like Fortnite. You know, when like the new holiday comes through, the new season comes through, there's always like new events. Remember Marvel being huge and you could play as Thanos? It's like this is taking it up to another level, though. Where it's like basically live action, like Black Mirror, watching everything, and you make decisions, and your show goes a certain direction. It's like really cool. Yeah, I like this idea.
Yeah, I mean, I do too. I think it's. I'm down for any idea that's off the wall, oddball, like not really done before. So it's rare to find original stuff. So I feel like this is gonna be an original experience, hopefully.
Finally.
Yeah, I'm curious to hear more about it, like when the actual date, you know, and everything will be. And yeah, I definitely want to check it out if it's in my if I can fit it in the schedule, you know, for sure. So yeah, cool new trailer. It's got me a little more excited, and hopefully we get a release date soon.
I hope it's successful, man, because I want to see this happen with like more and more games. I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, it'd be really cool to have just like tailored events. Just have like something to look forward to.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And their new DLC is like a new episode where it's like anybody can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And everything changes based on the audience. It's like, that's really cool. Yeah. It's like a rock show or something.
That's the thing. There's something cool about, like, okay, here's a dedicated time a bunch of people are just going to get together and do something. It's like a thing with concerts, and so like that's why this stuff's so appealing, right? So
yeah, live performance theater. It's theater. Oh my gosh, it's theater. That's the phrase.
It's right after that they're gonna do Hamilton. You know what I'm saying? Like it's theater.
I'm on board, man. I'm on board. That's such a good like show.
What's Hairspray? There's be Hairspray.
Yeah,
on that one.
Hairspray. Cats. Yeah, let's do Cats.
Kinky Boots. That's another one. Just a bunch of live shows. Wicked. I don't know. Keep going.
We're digressing too far. Let's get back on topic, okay?
You know what's the more perfect way to get back on topic, Mike? Year in review so far. You know what we have next week? Next week we have the Summer Games Fest. This is going to be dictating the future of gaming, right? But
yes.
So far this year, we've got some bangers. You know, we got some statements and some screenshots of underperforming games. However, not overshadowed by the amazing games. You know what I'm saying?
You know, that's a wonderful segue. Absolute wonderful segue. So this comes from Zach Zwiesen. Zwiesen. Hopefully that's how you pronounce it. I bet I butchered it. So this is from Kotaku. This is an article called 2023 already has more great games than 2022. And before we even jump into it, before you even read the subtitle, do you feel that's the case?
So far, yes, honestly. I already have there's already been a few games I played, you know, Resident Evil 4 Remake being one of them. I haven't even touched Star Wars yet, but like Hogwarts Legacy, banger. Like, and just like the overall good reviews I'm seeing of a lot of games. Even Diablo 4 is getting love. I've seen like really high scores already, and people saying that's like, you know, it was really funny. I saw IGN, they posted the review. I think they gave it a 9 out of 10. but I love their description of like why they gave it that. And they were pretty much like Diablo 4, it's kind of like it's like that really old band that you've seen plenty of times, but every time you go, it's like it doesn't disappoint. It's like you already know what to expect, but it's just as good as the first time you saw them, the second time you saw them. And that's like what Diablo 4 is. Like they essentially just took Diablo, they gave it, of course, new stuff and like new items and new quests and everything to do, but like it's the same formula and you know it works. So that's what makes it good, kind of thing. That's Diablo 4.
That's like a romantic version of a description for a game.
Yeah, but that was pretty much what they said. It's kind of like you know what to expect, but it's just good. Like it's just you're getting a Diablo game, and if you love Diablo, you'll love it. Kind of thing.
Heck yeah.
So yeah, very very good stuff there. I mean, yeah, Jedi Survivor, obviously like a fantastic game. Obviously the PC port was underperformed horribly. It was unoptimized. Like that's obviously the case with that one. But the core game is good, which is probably the most important thing, and it's something that can be improved upon. And even on consoles, perform well. So, I mean, look, there's we can go down the list too of all the games this year that have flopped. It's nothing new. Every year there's games that don't do well. There's games that do well. But yeah, I mean, I think overall, I mean, Tears of the Kingdom. I mean, Mike, I'm hearing
highly rated.
This is the thing, Mike. I'm hearing people saying that like this is easily going to take probably 400 to 600 hours if you're a completionist. You know what I'm saying? Like it's it's just a massive world, right? So,
so just get a Switch and then never buy another game.
Yeah,
basically.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
I still haven't opened up mine.
I think and this say we've had remakes. Obviously, Resident Evil 4 is a remake. Obviously, Dead Space got like a remake, but the good thing about it is, I mean, they're solid renditions. They're solid remakes. So, I mean, it still counts, right? So, yeah, a lot of good stuff this year. Hi-Fi Rush, that's another one.
Yeah, that was a really good one.
Have you heard about Street Fighter 6, dude?
That's on the horizon,
bro. Reviews are already out, Mike. And you know what?
Are they? I missed it then.
People are giving this the banger seal of approval in terms of fighting games. They're saying it's really good, and so which was surprising. I mean, I heard all the reviews, and there was some people saying that like this just proves how good of a streak Capcom has been on with like their IP recently, like between Resident Evil and Street Fighter. Yeah. It's like they're really taking their IP and like revitalizing it and like keeping it alive. They're doing a really good job about it. So, I mean, I think I saw an article saying that like Street Fighter 6 like. That like this really sets the bar for the next Tekken and next Mortal Kombat that's set to come out. So yeah, a lot of praise for the latest entry.
Yeah, you can create your own character apparently.
Yeah. People gave it good reviews. So that's good. So I don't know. Yeah,
let's hit the people some context for a second.
Yeah,
then.
We gotta do it, dude.
All right, so compared to 2022, this year is already off to a better start with Resident Evil 4, Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and Diablo 4. Which is what you just said. So 2023 is barely halfway over, and yet this year has already seen great games coming out of across nearly every platform, and upcoming releases are shaping up to be bangers too. 2022 wasn't the best year for video games, and I'm actually going to hit this hyperlink real quick. Are they going to say the games? Oh, that is a long read. That's what we do. We skim quickly. Okay, so anyways, this was a sentiment that I saw throughout obviously I'm speaking on Zach's own writing. This was a sentiment that I saw throughout the gaming community, and many staffers at Kotaku agreed. Sure, many great smaller games came. There's no doubt about that. But if you wanted big, fun blockbusters or good AAA games, last year didn't provide. That's a fact, and they haven't been providing for a while, man.
Crazy.
For a while.
Elden Ring. That was your best release last year. You know what I'm saying?
that one game of the year, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
haven't played. That's on my list.
This thing, obviously, like a few exceptions every year. Elden Ring, new God of War 2. I mean, yeah, there's obviously a couple exceptions, right? But yeah, I mean, I think in terms of AAA, I think AAA this year has been certainly better than last year. So far.
Oh my gosh, easily.
Yeah,
but there's been a lot of remakes, believe it or not. So it's like for this year so far, the biggest releases and the highest rated Metacritic scores are The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom at 95. You have Metroid Prime Remastered, which is basically a remake, 94.
Yeah.
Resident Evil 4 Remake, 93. Dead Space Remake, 89. And it's like there are like so many remakes at this point. It's gonna become a trend now. I mean, we're gonna start seeing remakes of like old classic shooters because I think that's really what's missing. I know Metroid Prime is a shooter, but it's more of a puzzle to me, at least. But the individual new IPs, I guess, are like what's it called? Sequels would be Star Wars Jedi Survivor, which as you mentioned has an 85, Fire Emblem Engage 80, Wild Hearts 76, Hi-Fi Rush is an 87, Hogwarts Legacy, which you and I like. You even played Hogwarts Legacy, didn't you? That's an 87.
30 plus hours. Solid game.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, so it's like there are more and more games coming out on the horizon. It's like you got the next Final Fantasy, you got Pikmin, you got Starfield, you got Armored Core, Mortal Kombat, which I heard is actually amazing, is what I've been seeing. You got Spider-Man 2, Assassin's Creed Mirage, and Alan Wake 2. And we covered Alan Wake, what, like 2-3 episodes ago?
Yeah.
So the future, and I've been saying it for 2 years, the future in gaming is bright. It's only going to get better. 2022, not that good. 2021, abysmal. Remember the COD game came out? Trash. Remember Halo Infinite came out? Trash. Remember Battlefield came out? Trash. Battlefield's the only one that's actually like repaired itself and it's good, and it's losing a player base, which is so crappy. Hopefully people go back because it's a good game. I need to go back for that matter. It's just a freaking grind, man.
So. Yeah. See, this is the thing. This is the proof for our theory that we had since last year. You know, obviously last year, especially in the showcase, wasn't that good. But you the viewer, can go back and probably watch some of our, like, you know, the Summer Games Fest coverage last year, just kind of like saying, and maybe even leading up to it, or post of like, hey, like this year, obviously, like announcement wise, not that great. I mean, game wise, not that great. But like this is kind of the what was made during like the peak of the pandemic, right? And we're just now starting to see it. And now we're just starting to see past that, and like people, after the adjustments people like developers had to make sure they, you know, had a nice productivity of games. And so we're starting to see that now, and I think it's just going to get better with Unreal Engine 5, and you know 2024 and 2025 are going to be pretty good years too. So we're starting to see that. Obviously, there's still some developers that, you know, aren't meeting expectations, but that's just how the gaming industry is, right? Like you're going to have devs that meet their mark, you're going to have some that miss it entirely. That's just kind of name of the game. But I think this year, certainly AAA wise, we've had a lot of really solid games so far, and we're only halfway through the year. So it's I'm very much looking forward to a lot of the games that'll be coming out. Yeah. Starfield, the biggest one for me, for obvious reasons, but there's still a lot to look forward to. But this is the start of that. This is the start of, like, you know, we're going to get solid AAA titles, so it's only going to get better, I feel like. And we'll know next week how 2024 will shape out.
Yeah, so,
dude. You know, it's funny too. I've been seeing a lot of, and he mentions it here a little bit. I've been seeing a lot of, especially on Twitter. I even share these with. I know I've shared a couple of these with you, of like where it's like a dev will go back and be like, 2006 was the best year of gaming, and it's like a check mark of all the releases that came out. You're like, oh, those are pretty good games, and it's like they'll do that for, like, you know, various years throughout history.
Oh yeah,
and it's like, yeah, it's like you know, that was a pretty solid year looking back on it. And it's like, I think for, you know, especially like years like this, and maybe like, you know, a couple of the late 2010s, we'll see that in the, you know, like a decade of like, you remember this year in gaming? It's like, yeah, it was a pretty good year. 2023 is getting on that list, so it seems. So it's cool to see that.
Yeah, I think that's very true. I think in terms of the AAA is really what he's focusing on, about how they're getting better. But I think the indie scene has been crushing it for the last couple of years. Very solid, like,
always,
view of where they want to go. But there's so many indie devs. Is that really fair to say? Because, you know, there's duds out there too. They don't get the notice. Like when a AAA messes up, it's bad. Like, plastered everywhere.
CNN, you know what I'm saying? It's outside of gaming news in some cases. So you're on Forbes. If you're on Forbes, Mike, I don't know what to tell you, dude. Like,
you're cooked.
That's the worst, you know?
You're cooked if you're on Forbes.
You know who's on Forbes?
So many articles on Forbes.
You know who's on Forbes recently? What did we cover recently that was a Forbes article?
Oh, whoa, you talking about Lord of the Rings, Gollum?
Not even that one, dude.
That one was bad, man.
I mean, that was bad, but even before that, dude. It was
help me
Bethesda's latest title, dude.
Oh,
Day and date Game Pass.
Yeah.
Redfall, dude. Yeah. Right plastered on Forbes.
I forgot about that. Redfall is like, that was going to be my next game. I told you about this. Me and the Buzz, we were like, we're going to switch up. We're going to go from Back 4 Blood to Redfall and like, oh, by the way, I got to remove that from my game progress tracker. I'm not playing that crap until it's fixed. Thanks for reminding me. I got it open over here on a secondary monitor so I could like reference the games that I'm trying to play. That's on the list and it just got ghosted.
Deleted, dude. See this thing. Yep. Redfall. Mike, do you enjoy a game that doesn't have cutscene storytelling and tells it entirely through a PowerPoint slideshow as you're playing? That is Redfall.
Yeah, or what's that other, Forspoken?
Yeah, Forspoken.
Was it Forspoken? Yeah. Wasn't that one also
littered with bugs? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
it was bad.
Yeah,
and that's it's one of those games I've heard like it was kind of like there were some people that like didn't mind it and they're like, yeah, it's pretty good. Like, yeah, it's got bugs, but like there's still a core here. So we'll see. Yeah. That's a game. That's a game like I myself am a little optimistic. I could probably turn around and actually like if they fix some bugs, it actually won't be too bad. But yeah, there's some of the dialogue and stuff. It's just like, bro, where did you record this? Like, it's just like it sounds just weird and it just doesn't fit at all. So
AI generated, kind of. And that's like an insult to AI because I recently saw on Twitter a game dev or like hacker or whatever, just like somebody manipulated their game. And they turned one of the NPCs into interactive AI commentary. So he was able to talk through his mic to the game, and the game talked back to him. That's was like crazy. It was wild, dude. So I can't wait until that happens, where we're just fully augmented into a video game and nothing's real anymore and everything's a simulation. But
I mean, look, ChatGPT. Just gotta start writing dialogue, dude.
Wild, dude.
Be like, ask ChatGPT, can you write a dialogue for my video game? You just give it parameters. There you go. Whole dialogue straight right there. 2 seconds.
That's a fact. I mean, that's a fact.
It's gonna be that way.
Anyways, I feel like we talked enough about the games of the past. Let's get back to the business that we cover. It seems like every freaking episode, your weekly update on the Microsoft
Ladies and gentlemen,
Activision.
It's your weekly. It's your weekly report.
Update.
The weekly report of the Microsoft Activision Blizzard.
It's like the weather report. All right, go ahead.
All right, Mike, I'm here at San Antonio, as you can see. I'm here at the Microsoft Activision Blizzard headquarters, and it is actually a summer showdown now for regulators as Xbox is fighting against the UK regulation. They submitted their appeal, and there's currently a court date hearing of July 24th to discuss the appeal in further detail and try and come to a conclusion as to whether or not the UK will grant them the right to approve this deal. So a little bit more of an update on that. Tom Warren, our guy over at The Verge, constantly writing updates about this. He's been following it pretty closely. I feel like I see a tweet every morning from him when I wake up.
Dude,
about like the deal
every day.
Yeah, he's following it pretty closely. Microsoft's appeal to the UK Competition and Markets Authority, the CMA, decision to block its proposed Activision Blizzard acquisition will head to a hearing the week of July 24th. But you know what, Mike? That's the week of my birthday. Maybe we'll see the deal happen on my birthday. Wouldn't that be something?
That'd be wild.
That'd be kind of crazy.
I'll buy you a month of Game Pass for your birthday.
You're gonna do the friend referral and give you a free 2 weeks?
I bet you I have one in Discord. They're like infesting everything.
Yeah, that's so funny. It's funny too because I clipped out that segment recently, and that'll be on the M2 Podcast Clips channel soon. So
let's go.
Let's see that anyway. The appeal will set Microsoft up for 2 summertime battles with regulators, one against the CMA and the other against the United States Federal Trade Commission. Forgot about that one, but yeah, they FTC sued them, so they're still working on that too.
Yeah.
That commences with a evidentiary hearing on August 2nd, so right after this. So it's like kind of crazy. You gotta go to the UK, have representation there to fight against this, and then the next week they gotta go to the US, have representation and evidence to fight against the FTC.
Yeah,
pretty it's like an anime over here. There's so many battles and stuff. Microsoft is focusing on the CMA's Microsoft is focusing on the CMA's decision to block the $68.7 billion deal, largely because of cloud gaming concerns. CMA estimated that Microsoft controls around 60 to 70% of the global cloud gaming services and is determined that adding control of Call of Duty, Overwatch, and World of Warcraft would give Microsoft an alarming advantage in the cloud gaming market. In a skeleton argument filed with the Competition Appeal Tribunal today, Microsoft argues the CMA analysis makes fundamental errors, and it seeks to rely on 4 expert witnesses to push for a judicial review. Microsoft claims the CMA has failed to consider the potential for switching between cloud gaming and native gaming, and says it has not correctly defined the cloud gaming market. Microsoft doesn't offer Xbox cloud gaming as a standalone product, for instance, with Fortnite being the only game you can stream without an Xbox Game Pass Unlimited subscription. Which is something,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's something I didn't know either. And it's something I didn't think about. Like, if they were to offer the ability to stream more games without needing a Game Pass subscription, could that maybe ease some of the tension that the CMA has and concerns to the deal? Perhaps.
I think that should definitely be something they should look into for free to play games.
Yeah.
But if you want to do any types of purchases, you probably have to have like a membership to track.
It's true. Yeah, I mean, something like, because like Overwatch is free to play, right? Didn't it go free to play with?
Yeah. It's free to play.
Yeah, I mean, so at that point,
cosmetics not so much.
Well, yeah, but like, yeah, why don't they just make Overwatch like in that same vein as Fortnite? And that could be like a compromise there, at least on one avenue.
That's
obviously they should probably do more than that if they want to like kind of ease the tension. But anyways, I'll continue on. The difference between a standalone cloud gaming market and an add-on service looks like it will form part of the main argument between Microsoft and the CMA during the appeals process. Microsoft sees cloud gaming as a premium add-on for its Xbox subscriptions right now, whereas the CMA says that, quote, Microsoft has a strong position in cloud gaming services, and the evidence available to the CMA showed that Microsoft would find it commercially beneficial to make Activision's games exclusive to its own cloud gaming service. In total, Microsoft has identified 5 grounds of appeal, including one where it alleges the CMA has failed to properly consider the various cloud gaming agreements it signed with competitors in the weeks leading up to the CMA's decision. The CMA also found that Activision would have been likely to make its gaming content available on cloud gaming services regardless of Microsoft's proposed acquisition, a belief that Microsoft calls irrational. Microsoft also alleges that the CMA has made 4 errors in its findings related to the Xbox maker withholding access to Activision games content from rival cloud gaming services. Microsoft had been pushing for a 4-day hearing starting the week commencing July 17th, but during an initial case management conference today, Justice Marcus Smith penciled in 2 weeks of July 24th and July 31st for the appeal and a 6-day process in total. The CMA has been seeking to push the hearing to the fall, arguing that it needed the time to prepare a defense of its decision. It's possible that the date of the hearing could still be pushed back, but Justice Smith strongly indicated this would be unlikely. That's actually an interesting development. I didn't know CMA was CMA's getting a little I don't know.
Antsy?
They're getting a little antsy. They're getting like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready for this. Like, we gave this appeal, but it's like, are they really ready to fight against it? Interesting development.
I think what they're trying to do is like, I think they want the FTC to make the decision first. Being like, the FTC is backed by the US government, and that basically has unlimited money. So I think the CMA might base their decision off the FTC.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what they're hoping for.
Honestly, yeah, that's probably true.
I could definitely see like the CMA making a decision and be like, yeah, we're not going to do it. And then like it gets approved that it won't be done. And the FTC is like, yeah, why not? Do it anyway. Forget consumers. That kind of thing. Just let it slide. And then all of a sudden, Xbox is now banned in the UK, but allowed everywhere else. That'd be so wild to see. But I mean, that could happen. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, this article is like, I was afraid this was going to be a lot of repeating like topics, but I feel like we're so far along the process now. It's like actually a lot of new detail I didn't know.
Yeah.
So I will continue reading. It says Microsoft's appeal process commencing in the UK over the summer months. Attention will also turn closer to home. The FTC sued to block Microsoft Activision Blizzard purchase last year, and that investigation is still ongoing. An evidentiary hearing is scheduled for August 2nd, just a week or so after Microsoft's appeal hearing starts in the UK. The FTC case may well unearth rare details on gaming industry exclusivity deals if documentation is made public after Microsoft and Sony lawyers have already been sparring over how many records, internal documentation, and emails from the company's PlayStation unit should be used as evidence, which would be really interesting if like all of a sudden like every single like the logistics behind every single exclusivity deal is like leaked.
That'd be kind of cool to see, to be honest.
As a consumer, yeah, I'd love to see that. It'd be interesting.
That'd be pretty cool.
And we'll read it all here on the M2 podcast.
That's a fact.
Through a 40-page
weekly
document.
update.
We'll just have an entire 3-hour show dedicated to just us monotone reading the evidence.
Dude, we're 100% gonna have to have an episode strictly devoted to this deal when it's finally settled, whether or not it's approved or not, or it gets extended. We're gonna have to.
Here's the timeline from the start.
Yeah, here's the timeline. Day 1, it's announced. Day 2, it's like everything.
This is going to be an entire documentary series in like 5 years from now, whenever this is like over.
Oh, it absolutely will.
By some, by some filmmaker. I'm just finish out the rest of this article, Mike. Going strong.
Yeah, get it.
While the UK and US regulators are battling it out with Microsoft, the EU approved the deal earlier this month. EU antitrust chief, is that Margaret? How to say that? You're English, Mike. How do you say that? Margaret Vestager? I don't know. Even said Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard has significant pro-competitive effects in a speech last week discussing the CMA's decision to block the deal. She ended her speech by discussing the future of merger control. Yeah, that's right. I didn't say the last name, Mike. Dodge.
Okay.
Dodge.
Hey.
By discussing the future of merger control and the shift in consumer habits, disruption, and consolidation in sectors. Quote, our mission is to accompany that transition, one merger at a time. It is to find solutions that keep the game fair for all players and working closely together with sister agencies as we do so. This is our Call of Duty. I see what you did there. Oh, man.
Come on, you don't play Call of Duty. Why are you doing that?
Right? You ain't never touched COD in your life. You know what I'm
yeah, come on. You don't even know what a trick shot is. My bad. That's too much. That's an inside esports reference to whatever's going on at FaZe. And FaZe, I saw that clip. Side note, I saw that clip of FaZe going after I don't even know her name.
Grace, I think.
Yeah, going after her, and I'm just like, dude, I don't even want to like wear my FaZe Halo shirt again on this podcast. Like, what the heck,
dude? It's insane, dude. We even talked about it. I think we talked about DMs, but FaZe is just in shambles, and it's unfortunate for that org.
They're booked, dude. They're done.
They're so cooked, man. But yeah, I mean, in terms of the Microsoft Activision Blizzard deal, very interesting developments. We're just a couple months away now from hopefully getting a conclusion to all this. Hopefully by end of August. Hopefully.
Yeah, I think this summer is going to be the most important summer in terms of gaming. I think by the time this podcast goes up, hopefully something goes on with Meta. Say what you will about Meta and what they're trying to do, but the technology's there for VR, virtual reality, and all their gear. So it's like if they can just push the envelope further of technology, I don't care about the price right now. I'm probably not going to buy it. I think it was like $700, some of them. It's like that's wild for a headset, but if they can push it forward, then it's like more innovation will come in the forms of that through like maybe Nintendo. Maybe that could be their next big thing is VR stuff. But it's also all the different game showcases that we got in the next couple of weeks, and then this is going to be this Microsoft Activision Blizzard, whether or not it goes through, is going to be like an industry defining moment, I think.
Yeah, I certainly agree. This is going to dictate the future for a lot of huge titles, so certainly important to track and be aware of. So yeah, I totally agree. It's the story of the summer in terms of gaming. So and it's gonna be very industry defining. So
yeah,
we will of course keep covering it.
It's you said, of course we'll be covering it along with AI development in the space.
We'll keep covering it,
Yeah,
along with the development of AI because there's a new update every week about AI.
Yeah, if I side note, if I see one more Twitter notification of like, yo, these younger generations are making $10,000 a month off of ChatGPT and other AI. Here's how. And then it's like 15 tweets in a row. And I look at them and I'm just like, you're just doing plugins. You're doing drop shipping. It's like, bro, you're not doing anything with it.
You're not making anything, dude.
Yeah,
crazy.
you're making me read this crap. That's what you're making me do. Like garbage. Getting negative value out of it.
It's dog meat. You know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah.
terrible.
It ain't good, bro. It ain't good.
Oh
But
man, dude.
I think that's it, really. I mean, some small updates. We got Nvidia popping off, becoming a $1 trillion company.
Yeah, I
the last,
saw that,
like,
dude. Yo, that's
2 weeks.
I read that and I was like, wait, is that real? And then I googled it and I was like, yeah, sure enough.
Yeah,
So it's kind of crazy.
That's because AI's been popping off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently, Google got rid of Chromecast. GG's. We done.
Oh, dude. Did they really? I didn't even see that.
Yeah, they ended Chromecast, and then it's like just more and more people are going towards this whole AI production model of like implementing AI into their work, and it's putting people's jobs at risk, and it's making CEOs freak out to where they're just like, oh, well, if you're using AI, you can do even more work. It's like that's not how it works.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's very interesting, and I'll be curious to see how it all turns out in terms of AI. But I don't know, man. This thing, when it all comes down to it, Mike, we are a week away from Summer Games Fest, and a lot of news
Excited.
I want to discuss. Here's to hoping that the idea is going forward if you're still here listening this towards the end of the episode. First of all, I appreciate you, but secondly, I would like to try and get the episode recorded on the date of Summer Games Fest, and then obviously it'll still go up at the same time Friday as normal. But I'd like to try and get it in on that Thursday so we can cover that next week without delay. So that's the goal. Even if we have to do it late,
I think it's gonna be a late day, but I think I think we should definitely do it.
I think it's worth it. I could stay up till whenever. You know what I'm saying? I don't need sleep. I'm a robot, so I can just we can make it work. I'll sleep when I'm dead, as they say, Mike.
I've had that mentality a long time, and I started going blind. So, here's the thing. We're gonna definitely cover Summer Games Fest, but it's probably worth also covering Tribeca Games Festival and Guerrilla Collection Showcase, which is literally the day before, and one after another. Yep. So, it might be one of those ones where we're just like, all right. Like flash super quick recap of Tribeca, and then like flash super quick of the Guerrilla showcase, and then just basically go straight into Summer Games Fest, go one by one, heavy hitters, what's sick, what's not, what are the leaks, and then we'll make a really awesome clickbait article and an awesome thumbnail, and then we'll go viral, and we'll be freaking lit, dude.
So this is the thing. So what I'm hearing is, for every single day of next week, we're going to be covering a new episode every day, and we're going to work so hard. We record a new episode every night, covering the day's events.
All right, I'm going to need a couple more of these then.
It goes so hard.
Drinking, for the audio listeners, I've been drinking the Go Swedish Fish. Tastes like Swedish fish, and that's a strong flavor. Let's put it that way. Should have got Sour Patch Kids.
All I'm saying, Mike, is, sometimes I wish this was my main job, you know what I'm saying? Because if we could do that, just go on a whole week and just cover everything, Yeah. It's the way of the road sometimes. Either way.
And we need the listeners' help for that. Subscribe, like, comment, share with your friends. Help us out. Run every platform. Name the platform right now. We're on it, okay? Figure it out.
Which platform is it? We're on it. See that?
Yeah, I will literally list all the platforms. It's madness.
Name a platform we're not on.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it to prove a point. Okay, so we're on YouTube, obviously. That's the easiest thing. We're on 2 channels. We got TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Pandora, Overwatch. Not Overwatch, Overcast. Yeah, we're the new DLC in Overwatch. Google Podcasts, Castro Breaker, Apple Podcasts, Anchor FM, and Amazon Music. Meaning that if you literally just yell at your Alexa, if people even still have those, or your Google, what was Google's thing? Hey Google, okay Google.
Yeah.
They had like a Google Drop or whatever.
Yeah,
if you just go play the M2 podcast, you'll get us, dude.
Yeah, on your Nest Mini.
And maybe some other people that like they're older and not as cool as us. But you will find us. It's okay.
Oh, dude. We're popping off, dude. This is, I mean, we're just we're off the hinges at this point. But this is the type of content. This is the content you get for sticking around. You know what I'm saying? You don't get this anywhere else. Any other show, we're just reading articles. This is where we pop off.
Yeah. Like and subscribe. Submit to the Patreon that we don't have. Yeah. Just follow.
I don't know. Really. Anyways, where I start with all this point is you're gonna get some sort of news next week about some of the showcases going on. Maybe Summer Games Fest. I don't know. Are we going to have to record a weekend episode for Summer Games Fest coverage? I don't know. We're trying to figure that out, right?
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing, man. Next episode might be really long because it's also going to be the first episode of the month, which means we're going to have to cover some of the games that are coming out for the month of June.
Technically, it's supposed to be this episode because it comes out on June 2nd, but that's fine. We will do it.
I know, but you got to give the people a breather, right?
I guess so, dude. I guess so. You're not gonna be able to breathe next week, all right? That's what we're saying.
That's a fact. Yeah, yeah. It's gonna be a long one. I'm gonna just go ahead and clear the calendar. We're gonna be up all night.
That's how it is. Sometimes it ain't easy in these streets. You know what I'm saying? That's just how it is, dude. It's June. It's the hell month. It's Hell Week. I don't know.
All right, we're off the hinges. Let's let the people go while we're still talking about it. Anything that you guys heard that you're interested in, go check out the links. We got bit.ly shortened links in the description of wherever you're listening to us. And if it doesn't work, if it looks like trash in the description and you're on that platform, message us. We'll correct it.
Post a comment.
Yeah, post a comment. Tweet to us. We got a Discord you can join up. We try to post some articles in there anytime that we find them interesting. Try to keep people informed because I know a lot of people don't have the time to just sit down and grabbing articles from the internet. So,
and you know what?
Everything.
Just Clips channel got some bangers. We're gonna be putting out shorts, of course. We're gonna be putting out dope Twitter content. All right, got some bangers this week. We already put out. You're missing out. That's all I'm saying.
I love it how every time you put your hand close to the screen, it's like auto focusing.
Oh. Yeah, see, my face is out of focus, so it focuses on the closest thing.
Mine doesn't do that.
Yeah.
GG's.
Yeah.
All right. Let's let the people go. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is the M2 Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Anthony, co-host Kyle Heath. We took plenty of your time. We appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in, and hopefully we see you next week. Peace out.
See you next week. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.